You're listening to Follow Your Art, a podcast with your host Donatella Lorato about unveiling the intricate mysteries of the art of executive presence. Chapter 1: Poise.
When I was a little girl, I had two preferred weekly moments: visiting my mom's showroom overlooking the Duomo and attending my ballet classes. The dream about being either a model or a ballerina girl was still not clear in my mind. What was clear was my need and quest for beauty. Whether among fabrics or tutus, I was fascinated by the attitude I breathed when watching beautiful women elegantly walking along catwalks in stunning outfits, or light as feather dancers twirling and floating in the air. There was a sort of magic spell in their being in the space, as if they could communicate through their movements a mixture of style, power, allure. It was not only posture, it was poise. Posture is a shape. Poise is a quality, a state of mind. To me, it was art. That was the first time I encountered poise. Poise is something that is kind of hard to define. It is that intangible presence and feeling that you project when you walk into a room. The way you walk, the way you carry yourself, the thought you've put into your personal style, it produces positive feelings and helps others feel at ease around you. Our poise reveals a lot about us, our personality, character, values, and our current state of mind.
So this is clearly a very emotional story about your childhood, and a lot of people don't have the opportunity to experience something like this, in their daily lives, in their childhood. So how do you think that people can work on poise?
Well, it's actually really simple. It's about working on etiquette, communication, storytelling, and appearance.
Well, about etiquette, most people probably think about etiquette being very, stiffy and old-fashioned in a way. So is that relevant for poise?
Well, actually, being old-fashioned is not about etiquette. The first step would be practicing your manners and formal etiquette, the best way to start generating your self-confidence. For instance, first impressions, as we know, are usually the most important thing when it comes to displaying yourself in a confident way. Things like standing taller, firm handshakes, introducing yourself by your first and last name is one of the best ways to go about working on your etiquette.
So obviously, etiquette leads to introducing yourself to someone else. As you said, first name, last name, and everything else. And from there, usually, you get into a conversation. So I'm guessing that communication is important to poise.
Well, it's absolutely priority. Be sure, first of all, to speak slowly, clearly, and keep your volume constant throughout your statements. A strong landing or dismount is very important and can make or break the effectiveness of a statement. Use proper grammar and work towards eliminating filler phrases such as like, the thing
that I'm not doing, but okay.
Well, let's say that it's a good practice to try to eliminate the majority of them at least. And then composure is one of the other things that are key to showing your confidence. It means don't panic, don't freak out when something goes wrong. People who are often overly emotional or very dramatic are unable to keep their composure. So practicing on that is one way people can stay comfortable and easy around you.
Yeah, the last thing you said about being, overly emotional and dramatic is very dear to me, actually. So I kind of relate to that on a personal level, but okay, never mind. Another thing that may come up in a conversation is, I think at least, is the ability to be able to, talk about yourself and put forward a story.
Well, yeah, that's totally true. It's all about storytelling. Our lives are stories. So when speaking with people, it is always best to work on speaking about diverse things. But when doing so, always make sure you always have proper transition in mind so that you can actually interact between subjects. Storytelling is one way to work on diverse subjects. This can be examples of where you have traveled, how many countries have you traveled, your best memory of a travel experience or the languages you have mastered, and what kinds of cultures those languages mean to you. If you can't think of anything, but really anything, read books or listen to radio stations that offer talk shows on diverse subjects.
Or listen to our podcast.
That is a great idea, the best.
So you might be an amazing storyteller, right? But it goes that far because I think, and you may agree or not, you probably do, that appearance is very important. The way you dress and the way you present yourself to the world must be very important, I think, to Poise.
Well, yeah, you absolutely have to dress the part. So, let's say take stock of your professional wardrobe and make sure you are neatly groomed and wearing clothing that reflects the culture of the environment. Sloppy clothing sends an immediate negative message to clients and colleagues. Shoes should be polished and allow you to walk comfortably and well balanced. For instance, ladies, the killer heels look is great for a night, probably out on the town with some friends, but they may not serve you well in other occasions.
So we've been discussing walking in heels, and I walked in heels in my life. I mean, theater and other events. We're not gonna be talking about those. But I know the struggle, and I know the struggle of walking in heels and of walking in general.
Well, yeah, it has a lot to do with poise. So I would say that you should poise yourself to walk with your chin parallel to the floor, making sure your back is straight. Place your feet parallel to each other when you walk and take up as much room as possible.
So when you eventually stop from walking, you'll probably have to stand. It sounds ridiculous, but most of the times we don't realize that standing does convey a message to the person in front of you.
That is totally true. And it's difficult to stand without moving. So actually, I would suggest to stand in a balanced yet relaxed position and think about like being held up by a rope fixed at the top of your head to the ceiling, and the rope is easing you upwards. Be like a sort of a gymnast being pulled through the air. This will prime your body to stand up upright and tall. Then puff your chest out like a sort of a peacock, shoulders held back and upright in a comfortable manner. Distribute the weight of your body so that 2/3 of it falls on the balls of your feet and 1/3 on your heels. Again, take up as much room as possible. Most importantly, feel and look comfortable, and you're pretty much good to go.
Eventually, if you're lucky, you'll have a chance to sit. And we go back to the first issue we talked about, which is etiquette, because most people, I think, are not familiar, thank you. I was looking for the word. Familiar with dining etiquette and all that it comes with it. So, what do you think about it?
Well, that is totally true. It's complicated. There are some rules that we may keep in mind. When sitting, you should be able to draw a line from the ear to the shoulder to the hip bone, and if standing, from the hip bone to the knee. Make sure that the back of your chair supports your weight. Sit well back in your chair so that your posture is upright yet relaxed. Avoid folding your arms and legs, and these are often thought as negative body language. The most appealing posture is to sit with legs together, hands resting on your lap, and then use the open palm gesture to underline that you have to say, but avoid gesticulating widely.
Which is a thing Italians like us
Do a lot. And then at the end, if you really have poise, you will be true to yourself under all the circumstances.
Well, since we're at the conclusion of our conversation, I realized that most of the things we talked about, I didn't do throughout this recording. So that's interesting. I'm here sitting in the worst way possible with a flamingo tank top on.
Which looks wonderful on
saying,
you.
Thank you. Saying ums and likes, so I may have to work on it. But, well, thank you, Donatella, for this conversation.
Thanks.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
You've listened to Follow Your Art, hosted by Donatella Lorato. If you liked it, we encourage you to visit our site, donatellalorato.com, and to follow us on our Instagram, LinkedIn, Spreaker, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.